Today I fucked up by talking my boyfriend out of wanting the iPad I was going to surprise him with for Christmas. So my boyfriend wanted to get an iPad to replace his old Chromebook. Christmas is around the corner along with our 1-year anniversary, so I thought that I should get him an iPad as a combined gift for both. He was seriously looking for old iPads on eBay since he didn't want a new one. I was doing the same and looking for decent iPads that would match the description and the price range he wanted it around because I didn't want to get an overly expensive one and make him feel uncomfortable. His search was getting a bit intense and he is a lot better with technology than I am. I then thought that I should talk him out of buying one for now so I can get it for him. We had an hour-long conversation over the phone about why he shouldn't get an iPad now since he doesn't need it and that he can use his Chromebook and his desktop etc. He said that I was totally right and that he doesn't need one. I continued my search for the perfect iPad. I spoke to him about the iPad casually just to make sure he wasn't looking for one after our conversation. He then said that he would not get one for a very long time and that he would not feel right to use it even if he got one just because he wanted one because it won't serve the purpose for which he originally thought it would serve. I then realized that I've not only talked him out of buying an iPad for now, but that I've managed to talk him out of buying one forever. I came clean to him and hoped that I could convince him that I can get one for him, but he burst out laughing. Told him he loved me and that he really appreciates the thought but that he really doesn't want one anymore. Too long didn't read. I tried to surprise my boyfriend with an iPad for Christmas, but in trying to stop him buying one I accidentally talked him out of wanting one at all. Even if you did talk him out of it, I think you've made him very happy. That's worth far more than an iPad. He sounds like a very lucky guy. Let's take a moment to recognize that even you admit that he is better with tech than you, and he still took your advice that he may not need it. Regardless of the shitty choice in looking for iPads to begin with, playful face, that man has character and is comfortable enough with himself to take advice from someone he loves and trusts. He's a keeper up, as long as there's not something crazy you haven't mentioned. And the secret LPT here, more so for your boyfriend. Don't buy yourself big ticket things around the holidays. Unless it is seriously dire, something has fully crapped out and must be replaced immediately. Just wait a few weeks or a month till after whatever holiday is happening, and if you don't get your item, get it then. I cop, you just never know. While I mostly agree with this, you run the risk of not getting it as a present and missing all the holiday sales for getting it yourself. Maybe just buy it yourself and make sure there's a solid return policy in case you later get it as a present. Calculated risk otherwise. While I get you fucked up, you did even better by making him realize how lucky he is to have a woman like you. Today I fucked up by yelling at my cat when he was trying to warn me. So this just happened, 3 AM. I'm woken up by my cat inside scratching at the patio door and howling his face off. He does that when a neighborhood cat is outside and in his territory, so I just yell into the darkness, "Loki, shush." He does shush for a minute, and then I hear him howling at the front door. "Loki." Silence. Then, the sound every cat owner hates. The retching noise of a hairball on its way up. My dude just wanted to go outside to throw up. Instead, I had to clean up a foot-long hairball covered in cat food and vomit on my living room floor. Thankfully hardwood flooring. Sorry buddy. Next time I'll get up and let you out, after checking for neighbor cat intruders. Too long didn't read. I didn't listen to my cat giving me an out to cleaning up his vomit. Loki sounds smart. Our boys are stupid as shit and will vomit on the floor while the door is wide open. What a smart boy. Our girl comes to us for comfort when she throws up, which means cleaning vomit out of the carpet at 4 AM. It also means finding it barefoot if I don't wake up to the vomit noise. One of our cats makes a very, very distinctive meow when she's about to yarf. It always sends me running because she's afraid of her vomit and backpedals while projectile puking as fast as she can. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen and really prefer that it happens outside because her range is just phenomenal. Your Loki is smart. Loki ignores the laminate floors throughout and throws up on my sofa instead. Except for that one time he decided throwing up on my printer would be a better option. My cat will meow to let me know to clean the litter box before he uses the floor. He's a good boy. Today I fucked up by not evacuating for a hurricane early enough, and ending up in a shelter with lions. I shared this story before on Reddit a long time ago, but someone told me it belongs in this sub. This happened within the past few years. Not gonna name the hurricane or the zoo, because I don't want the zoo to get hate mail about the treatment of animals or anything when really they did a phenomenal job with this being during a hurricane, and don't want to out the zookeeper who helped me. So, we, my brother, M22, his girlfriend F22, and I, F18, all living together, had been looking at the spaghetti models and thought the hurricane was going to miss us, but about a day before it was going to hit, we realized we were fucked. We were reluctant to evacuate because we had no money and didn't want to miss work, but we began to panic when we realized the roads were all clogged and it was too late to get out. Now, most people in this situation would probably go to whatever public shelter the local officials were running, but this wasn't an option for us. Turns out that these shelters were IDing people on the way in, and certain convicted felons were not allowed in, for public safety concerns. My brother was a convicted felon, different story, who was barred. They offered to house such people in the prison instead until the hurricane passed, but he was adamant that he was never going back there and he'd rather rough it out in our basement and try to survive here than end up back in jail. And his girlfriend wasn't going to leave him and I didn't want to either. The hours passed, with us panicking and unsure what to do, until his girlfriend got a crazy idea. Her best friend was a zookeeper at the zoo just down the road, and she remembered hearing how the animals would be safe in the super secure concrete night houses they were all secured in. She called her best friend, who was already out of state and evacuated, to see if we'd be able to somehow stay in an animal night house, since we had nowhere else to go and it would be safe. It took a lot of begging and pleading and negotiating. As I understand it, my brother's girlfriend was told that all the night houses were at nearly full capacity, some packed more than they ever should be, to house all the animals and keep them all safe. The only night houses with any extra space were ones containing particularly dangerous animals, such as lions, where there was a separate room adjacent to the animals for keepers to transfer them into to clean the other room, to handle them without having to get one-on-one contact, etc. I'm probably describing this poorly, but for those who have been to some zoos you probably know the kind of structure I mean, an adjacent room for keepers to handle the animals from behind a fence. So if we were going to do this, we'd have to stay in there. Reluctantly, after promising not to tell anyone and his girlfriend crying about how we were all going to die, she sighed and agreed and gave us the access code to the employee-only gate and instructions for how to get in and lock the door behind us. I was shocked she agreed, but the keeper and my brother's girlfriend must have really trusted each other. So we set off, with 4 days worth of snacks and drinks, some electronics for entertainment, and sleeping bags, and walked half a mile down the road to the zoo. The wind was already starting to pick up around now, probably around 20 miles per hour. We got through the gate, found the lion house as described, and entered, locking the door behind us. It was certainly a secure concrete bunker, but the first thing that hit us when we entered was the stench. It was almost unbearable. I had never thought of lions as particularly smelly animals before, but good God, it smelled like rotten meat and the most horridly foul cat litter box times a million. We were all retching as we came in and spread our out sleeping bags on our side of the enclosure, which was probably about 20 feet by 10 feet. We were separated from 14 lions by nothing more than what was basically a double chain link fence. We tried to play cards, or talk, or random stuff to lighten the mood and have some fun, but it was a truly intimidating, repulsive environment. On one hand, it was pretty awe-inspiring getting to be so close to so many lions, but on the other, hearing them grunt, roar, seeing one occasionally thrash at the chain link fence to get at us, we were no more than 4 feet from a lion at some points, watching and smelling them piss and shit all over the place. It was really overwhelming at times. It was much worse at night. Apparently the keepers had set a timer before they left to turn out the lights at a certain time to keep the lions on their regular day/night cycle. It was just about pitch black, and for those that don't know, Lion's eyes glow in the dark. Seeing those eyes staring at us in the night was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Well, long story short, we stayed in there for a few days and then walked home. The whole place was pretty much still evacuated, but the worst of the storm was over, and we had promised to leave before people started coming back. Our house was beaten down pretty bad, but it was sure nice to have some fresh air to breathe again. Too long didn't read, didn't leave for a hurricane in time, only shelter available was Lion Bunker at zoo, spent 3 days inhaling concentrated cat urine. I liked reading this. Yes, all big cats stink. All have been initiated now. -28 glowing eyes. Wowie. Smile. 14 lions will never forgive each other for letting that many human dinners get away. Ha ha. I don't know if it's cool or sad in the fact I remember you posting this story a while back. If there was no staff there, how did the animals get fed every day? Even house animals will eventually eat all the food if you leave it out. Now this is the content I joined this sub for. Odd question, but did this zoo not have a red team that stays during emergencies? Maybe not an actual zoo, more like a Tiger King kind of situation?